record again. And our next speaker is Rosemarie Barnes. And Rosemarie, I can see you. I cannot. There you are. Yay. And where are you calling from again? I forgot.
Vancouver Island in Canada.
Woohoo! Yay. Wonderful. So I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to take myself off camera. You've got a half an hour. Teach us what you know.
Thank you. You know, this year there was a solar eclipse. Did you get to see it? Now, it got me thinking about belief structures and the need that we have these days to continually review our beliefs and whether they're still holding true. Now, I'm not talking about values. Solid values stand the test of time, but I'm talking about beliefs, because our beliefs are based primarily on the truth of the day. Now, centuries ago, the moon passing between the earth and the sun would have been cause for terror and even perhaps a few sacrifices. People would have known that the gods were displeased, and hence we have this dark day. The belief would have been absolute and based on the truth of the day. Fast forward to 2018, where this eclipse was Facebook and newsworthy, but was hardly a cause for terror or chaos in the streets. It was met with curiosity. It was met with interest, because today's truth is different than centuries ago truth. How do you know when those truths change? Unless you're on top of it, unless you're continually looking at ways to revisit. Now, societies are always in a state of change. They're in a state of reinvention as the knowledge base grows and our acceptance of new knowledge grows. We have to examine what we've always believed to be true, and we have to do it more often than not these days. For example, Pluto was once a planet, but no more. It's changed how we think about our own little solar system. Encyclopedias used to be the repository of all knowledge. Well, they've gone the way of the dinosaurs into extinction, because now we've got the internet, and at a push of a button, we've got knowledge, opinions, considerations of all kinds, more than we even wanted. The truth has changed. The truth that Pluto was a planet has changed. Now, for most of us, the reevaluations of our belief structures is the hardest thing in the world to do. We would rather stick to old tenets and isms that have guided our lives very well to this point, rather than even consider looking at them. Fear. Fear is the problem. Fear is usually, and here's the thing, false evidence appearing real. In the days of Zeus and Hera being unhappy and so caused an eclipse and the earth to darken, that evidence was false, but it appeared real. So we believe it and we guide our lives accordingly. We will go to extraordinary lengths to defend our beliefs, even in the face of an alternate truth, because of fear. Women were suspected of witchcraft in a all too close distant past. And even after it was proven that that ideology was false, that these women were in fact people that knew how to use mushrooms and tinctures and had some knowledge of biology, and they were being hung for it. They were being burned for it. And yet, even after many believed that witchcraft was not in fact a sorcery of the highest order and worthy of burning, the burning still went on, because people would rather remain true to their belief structure than even give it a thought of reinventing it. It's interesting to realize that the problem really isn't in once we get over the fact that we may have to reinvent, the problem is, what do we replace it with? It's not so much that, all right, witchcraft, and by the way, I do wish it was real. Oh, I would give anything to have magic to turn down the TV without me getting up, hence the invention of the remote. But what do you replace a belief in that witches are alive and real? What do you replace that with when it's proven to be incorrect? That's the biggest fear, is that we'll be left naked, empty. This is where we get leaders without followers. Leaders may choose to staunchly believe that what got them to this place is enough to get them further. And unfortunately, that's just not the case anymore these days. When it comes time to reinvent, we have to take that opportunity, even in the face of fear. Now, thanks to technological wizardry and the brilliance of people who know how to understand and reinvent and create these wonderful things that happen on these machines, our knowledge base is growing at a tremendous pace, and it's forcing us to reevaluate our belief and business strategies regularly. We have to learn in this day and age, when things are in such a rapid of building and destruction and newness and knowledge coming in from everywhere, we have to learn to regularly review, adjust if necessary, and redirect our efforts to get the goal that we need. The old ways simply do not work anymore. Consider for a moment a typical business. In the 50s, it was completely hierarchical, with the president up on high, giving orders as they spread down the pyramid until they met the working class down in the bottom. With our new generation, that system is crumbling. We no longer agree to just blindly stay with a job that we hate because of security and loyalty and all of those things, because of the pension check. Will work for less money, worse wages, fewer benefits, if a company is green. They want to be involved. Now, this is a whole other topic, and I've written a whole book about it. You're welcome to read it. It's called Confident Leadership in the 21st Century, Bridging the Generation Gaps in Business, and you're welcome to read all about that there. But the point is that leaders who aren't willing to accept that the whole hierarchical structure of business has changed and resembles more King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table these days, they're going to be left behind. Their businesses are going to be left floundering. So there are 3 R's that will help you in this. Now, the 3 R's of education are, of course, reading, writing, and arithmetic. The 3 R's to resetting and reevaluating our plans are to review, recalculate, and redirect. Doesn't that sound just like a car's GPS? So we must review. We must review constantly. Before we can deal with some massive sinkhole that has just arrived on the road we're about to travel, we must first realize we have a problem. To have known about the sinkhole before you started down the trail would have been useful. I was giving a presentation in Victoria not so very long ago. There's one road in and one road out from the rest of the island, and that would be Highway 1, the Malahat. The Malahat is a mountain road. It's a wonderful road, but when there's an accident on it, it is impassable. To get to my speaking engagement proved absolutely impossible. Even if I had been able to book a helicopter, I still couldn't have gotten to where I had to be on time. And I left myself 3 extra hours. There was no way to get there. Now, if I had been watching the news, been looking for a possibility that the Malahat Highway 1 would have been closed, then I would have had more time to adjust. But I didn't. And so I left the meeting planner, the audience, in a terrible situation that I couldn't have avoided, but that I didn't even know I had to avoid because it wasn't on my radar. The first thing we have to do is constantly review what we believe, what we do, why we believe it, why we do it. Do you take time to review? Or does it fall into the trap of, one day when I'm not so busy, I've got fires to put out, things to do? Turns out that review process is one of the most important things we need to do in our businesses, whether it's speaking, whether it's teaching, whether it's running an engineering company, whether it is Prime Minister of Canada or President of the United States. Reviewing what is happening and why we're doing what we're doing is essential, because our lives are full of too much. We do too much. We're too busy. We sacrifice our sleeping time. We sacrifice our pleasure time. We sacrifice without ever reviewing whether we're still on the right track. We sacrifice our thinking time too much. So we review. We consider how we got to this point. We forgive ourselves for all the mistakes we've made along the way. And then we get on with it. Now, once we've reviewed, what do? If we find ourselves somewhere we'd rather not be, it's time to recalculate, just like the GPS in your car does. When you take a wrong turn, the GPS, mine is called Susan. That's the voice I use. And believe me, without my GPS, I would never have found some of the places I've found. She's invaluable. Well, we need to be invaluable to ourselves. We need to be able to quietly, calmly realize we're on the wrong track and then recalculate another way to get to our destination or to change that destination entirely. Translate that into the world of business. If our profits are dropping, well, first of all, we don't know that unless we're continually reviewing. Secondly, if our profits are dropping and we do nothing, we are headed for failure. It's time to recalculate, figure out how to get to our goal or change the goal. That's recalculating. For example, there's an author, okay? An author has written a book, and brimming with pride, she takes her book to the publisher. Huge sense of accomplishment. My manuscript is done. Well, as editors and publishers like to do, they want to rewrite, or they want to edit, or they want to gasp, shorten, and cut things. Now, the author has poured their heart and soul into the creation of this manuscript. We have labored over every word, every nuance, every phrase, so that it speaks our heart, so that it lands on the reader well. And now someone or something is telling us we have to change it. But she still wants to get her book published. So she can do what the editor wants her to do and change it. She can amend it. She can change the deadline for her book so that she can find another way to make this whole work. Or she can drop the whole thing. There's always that option. Here's the point. When things happen over which we seemingly have no control, or when things land on us out of the blue, we always have an option to invoke the TLC principle. Not that kind. Take it, leave it, or change it. Here we are. Okay, here's what I want to say. Change is what happens to us. When we're not in control of something new, different, coming down the pipes, and we're left reacting to it, we call it change. And we don't like change very much. It is the rare individual, indeed, that says, oh, that's new. I'm going to just give up everything I'm doing and go that way now. Perhaps foolhardy, perhaps adventurous, but it is the rare individual that says, oh, gold, the minute something changes. For the most part, when it's forced on us, we don't react well. But we can always decide to take the change. After we review it, after we redirection it, after we recalculate it, we can decide that, yeah, that's a pretty good thing. I'm going to give that a change. We can always decide to leave it, ignore it, maybe at your own peril or maybe for your benefit. We can say, no, that's not for me. I'm not interested. Some people, for example, will say, I am a live and in-person girl, and this virtual world is not for me. I need to see the faces of the people I'm speaking to so that I can react, so that I can get feedback, so I can respond to them. But in today's world, ignoring the virtual is going to cut your reach into tiny little slivers. So, but you can decide to leave it, or you can change it. You can change the change. You can reinvent to your own liking. Reinvention means that you don't have to get frustrated. You don't have to get angry. You have a plan for how you're going to deal with this. You see, when we are in the driver's seat, we call this newness reinvention, transformation, growth. When it's handed to us and we're forced into it, we call it change, and we fluster and we complain and we do all kinds of things. But here's the thing. The more difficult something new is, the better the opportunity to learn. We never learn when we're comfortable. Never. We only learn in the face of challenge. How you react to those challenges gives you confidence to know that you can. That no matter what comes down the pipes, no matter what you choose to instigate into your own company, that by knowing that you can review it, recalculate it, redirect it, by knowing that you can take it, leave it, or change it, it puts you in the driver's seat. And when you're in the driver's seat, you have the confidence to know where you're going, why you're going, and to what end, what you're going to do when you get there. Now, here's the thing. You can't do any of it if you don't have the self-confidence to know that you can. Confidence is the recipe for success. Maintaining the status quo does not build confidence. Doing it the way it's always been done is complacent. Sorry. Bad news. There's a very famous quote, and it says, success does not breed confidence. It breeds complacency. Confidence is born out of navigating through challenge and even through failure. Confidence grows outside of your comfort zone. When things are necessary, and you know they're necessary because you're constantly reviewing, when it's necessary, the more times that you have accepted the challenge, the more times you have jumped off the bridge and know you can land, that your parachute will open, the more times you think you can do it. But the true confidence is knowing that when you drive your car into a ditch, that you know you can get it out again because you've done it before. Confidence is not born out of success. Confidence is born out of navigating through newness, through change, and through difficulty. So therefore, and in this world of rapidly expanding knowledge bases, the pace of life, the constant onslaught of newness, it is comforting to know that you can act like your car's GPS and recalculate along the way. You don't have to stand up on the driver's seat and yell and let it be known that you've made a mistake. You quietly and calmly change the way you're doing things, and you do so by using the TLC principle of take it, leave it, or change it. It makes you powerful and it makes you strong. Now, my company, Confidence Stages, have you noticed I've been talking about confidence and the best ways to get it? Well, my company is called Confidence Stages. Confidence Stages exists in 3 forms. One is I'm an author, and I've written books about, it's a confidence series, confident public speaking, confident business leadership in the 21st century. And the new one that I'm working on is called Confident Reinvention, personal, professional, and corporate. It's very nice to know that the same system that works for corporate works for professional as works for personal. The other thing that Confidence Stages does is offer training on presentation skills. I love what Tony and Tanya have said about the relationships. And I love that they have also mentioned you cannot speak to an audience until you know what their challenge is, what their top of mind problem is. Then, once you know that, you can take their top of mind problem and decide whether you're going to address it, whether you're going to add something new to their pot to stir around in their brain, or whether you are going to take their attitudes and give them a different look on it. You can take it, leave it, or change it. The structure of a presentation never changes. It's the same way that every presentation, workshop, they're all structured the same way. And then within that, you can adapt to feed your audience what they need to hear, what they need to feel confident about, what they need to know in order to make their lives better. But you can't do that if you are stuck in the world of this is the way it's always been. Do not let fear, false evidence, usually appearing real, stop you from looking down new avenues, from looking at things a different way, from adapting and adopting your GPS attitude. Confidence Stages teaches you to do that. There's also the business that I am now, thank you, Tanya, a Public Speaking Association Executive Director. Isn't it odd that the name of the chapter that I offer is called Presentation Power? In order, though, to be powerful, you have to be on top of it. You cannot continue the way you've always done because people's problems are changing. You have to know how to change with them. If you would like to connect with me, my name is Rosemary Barnes. My company is Confidence Stages. Grab your little pencil, www.confidencestages.com. I'm going to be speaking in Las Vegas. I'd love to connect with you there. Tanya, let's talk about Britain, Ha! Wouldn't that be a hoot? And wouldn't that be an interesting challenge to learn how to drive on that side of the road? Thank you, everyone. Open for questions.
Okay, wonderful as always, Rosemary. I got a question from someone about 2 weeks ago at one of my events, and they said, you know, Tony, how do you, hearing a little bit about your story, how did you get the confidence to do everything that you do? And my answer was, I was too stupid to know what I didn't know. So it was one of those, you know, you want to go out there and you want to do it. But sometimes trial and error is one of the best teachers for building confidence. And two, because I'm perpetually pissed off about something, right? Someone has told me, no, I can't do this, or no, you're not good enough. That's the reason why when Tanya said, you know, she always told me be a perfectly imperfect speaker, which I was trying to do. Everything that Toastmasters tells you not to do, I do it. So I think that's what makes me a good speaker. So talk to me a little bit about if you haven't developed that sense of confidence, if you are struggling, how do you get from where you are to where you want to be? What's the process?
The first thing is to realize that if you're trying to be perfect, you're doomed to fail. And that just like the GPS that doesn't stand up and broadcast that you made a wrong turn to the whole world, neither should you be chastising yourself for every little thing that went wrong. The thing about things going wrong is that we learn from them. And as long as you're learning, you're growing. And as long as you're growing, there is little to fear. Because the more you learn, sometimes it can make you even more nervous. But the point is that once you trust that you can learn something, that's what you need to be confident. No, I don't know everything. I don't know anything, but I'm willing to learn. And every time I learn something new, I put it in my pocket to be brought out for next time when I'm in a similar situation. You don't become confident by success after success after success because you don't learn anything. And if you are not keeping up with things, how can you be confident that you can? Therefore, the biggest trick is to stop berating yourself every time the audience hasn't been as big as you wanted it to, that you didn't come out with as many deals as you wanted to. Stop it. Realize that if you have improved your presentation by 1 iota, you have learned something. Your confidence can grow, and you'll get them next time. If it didn't work, what can I learn from that to turn it around? We learn because we've made a mistake. Making a mistake is the best way to gain confidence depending on your attitude about it. A child that is learning to walk falls down on that nicely padded diaper and gets back up, having learned that, oh, if I hold on to the coffee table, I can walk around it. Gaining confidence as they take 2 more steps, fall on their bum again, and get back up. Why do we as adults not allow ourselves that same forgiveness? And why do we feel it has to be forgiven in the first place? The child that falls learning to walk doesn't go, oh, I'm not worth the air I breathe, I fell down. Neither should we as adults say, oh, my speech didn't go as planned, I forgot this whole chunk, I'm not worthy. We are all worthy.
I love
and
it.
we all can be proud that we made a mistake, we learned from it, and we got back up and walked around that bloody coffee table.
I love it. I love it. Now, because this is a Women of Influence conference, obviously I'm usually the only male at these because it's my event. really quickly, what advice, excuse me, what advice do you have for the ladies who are listening, whether now or later on, if you are in a male-dominated environment? Do you have any tips for building confidence?
I do. I absolutely do. Stop believing that there's a difference. I have never found a glass ceiling because I refuse to acknowledge that one exists. When someone walks into a male-dominated field as a woman, they already have the advantage. Now let's think about that. Males work left-brained, women right-brained. Now I'm one of those very odd individuals that is 50-50, left brain, right brain. My husband said, in fact, he married me because I was half man. Now I checked, and that's not true. So, but he means that I can think equally well with my left brain, right brain. Now, when a woman, and women in business, women on the stage, women speakers have the advantage of being able to facts, figures, numbers, data given to you via heart, given to you via top of mind, given to you with a little TLC, not the take it, leave it, change it one, the real little love and care. Everybody needs to know they have value. And who does that better than professional women in speaking? Women in speaking know that we handle things better as a group. Now, the other thing to realize is that men require more confidence than women do, because men have traditionally been seen as the leaders. They've been the testosterone pillar of, I can handle this, I will protect you, I will take care of you. What kind of confidence does that take? For women coming in, we have the other kind of confidence. Did you ever see The Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah.
Where the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck and can turn the head any way she wants to.
Absolutely.
Men have a protective instinct built into their DNA. Women have it too, but men, it's more, everybody has everything. We're the same, but it's just that there are small differences. So where men feel the need to be strong, powerful, protect their people, get their goal no matter what, all that kind of thing, women have those same goals, but come in it with a softer touch, thereby not intimidating, thereby not evoking a threatening attitude, and thereby being able to handle things without the fuss of stomping around like the king pillar.
Okay.
Women going into a men's work world are treated, depending on their attitude, if they expect to find bigotry, if they expect to find women bashing, if they expect to find that they will be squashed under the male dominated world, that's what they'll find.
Okay.
But
so
if women
I'm going to stop you right there, because
okay.
I want to leave enough time for anyone who has questions.
Okay.
So let's leave it right there. If you do have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask away.
Rosemary, this is
Yes.
Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda.
I love your voice. You just carry me along. I really liked, and I've heard this before, but the way that you teach and you really lift so I can hear it is that success does not create confidence. And that really honed in on some things, because I know if I'm not having a confident day, any of the successes that I've had all of a sudden get me into a haze, because things come in like questioning, well, can I do that next time or whatever. So I love that you said that. And also what's interesting is that what you were speaking to is to go out there and make mistakes. And I find that what you are speaking about is so needed, because there's so many people that get frozen because they're so afraid of the learning curve of what they're doing and being out there and maybe somebody seeing them with making a mistake. And like what you were saying, how it can beat somebody up so bad, they can beat themselves up so bad because all they do is keep referring to that mistake. And so when you're working with people, because that seems like a logical way to go, and just general population will beat ourselves up, what's a thing that usually helps trigger so somebody can start focusing on resetting that perspective so they can be successful?
The best way that I've ever found is to absolutely adopt an ism of lifelong learning. When you have the attitude of I have an attitude that as soon as I stop learning, I start stagnating.
Yeah.
And if I stagnate, I die.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even decided what I want to be when I grow up yet, and I'm 62 years old.
We're still learning.
Exactly. So instead of viewing mistakes as judgment, view them as an opportunity for more learning, because out of learning comes knowledge, and out of knowledge comes confidence.
Love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments before we move on? Yes, no, maybe?
Real quick, you're amazing. I can't wait to see you at my conference.
Thanks, Tanya.
I just want to say, yes, thank you very much. And I think a lot of what you're talking about is mindset, right?
To a degree, but even if you've got the mindset of taking on challenges as opportunities, having a system to do that with is helpful. Once we know that the mindset has to be open to change, open to transformation, actively seeking them, to know that there's a system that you can take it, leave it, or change the change. TLC, take it, leave it, change it, puts the power in your pocket.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, before we move on, any other questions? Ask all. Yes, no, maybe? Okay, Rosemarie, thank you so much. Please hang out. I'm sure people are going to have some more questions and comments for you, so just hang out if you can. We really appreciate that.